Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a fascinating study that basically flips everything we think we know about failure completely on its head. It's based on research from the Tide Tran University's College of Humanization research team, and it suggests a new way to learn that could honestly change how you approach your very next big challenge. So let's just kick things off with a question that really challenges a lifetime of learning, right? What if everything we've been taught about waiting, about preparing until we're ready, is just wrong? What if the fastest way to actually get something right is to start by getting it wrong, and maybe even on purpose?
And this right here is the central battle we're looking at today. On one side, you've got the old way, the safe, slow path of perfectionism. Study, study, study until you feel absolutely flawless. And on the other side, you have this surprisingly powerful idea, a bias for immediate action, even if it means you're going to fail right out of the gate. Okay, so first, let's really unpack the problem. Let's talk about the perfectionism trap. It's a mindset, and it's one that's actually baked right into our traditional models of education. It's often called the waterfall model, and that's a term they borrowed from old-school software development. It means you have to finish each stage perfectly before you can even think about moving to the next. All your learning just flows in one direction, down, 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 towards this one massive high-stakes exam waiting for you like a final boss battle at the end of the game. Now, this whole waterfall thing, it has some major downsides. First, there's something called the fluency illusion. This is where you trick yourself into thinking you know the material just because you read it a dozen times. Second, your test anxiety goes through the roof because everything is riding on this one single event. And finally, there's this huge hidden cost the researchers call the time tax. Every extra month you spend studying is a month you're not out there earning money. So what's the alternative, right? Well, this research centers on a place called the Louisville Beauty Academy, or LBA, and they basically flip that whole waterfall model on its head. Their philosophy is simple: action over perfection. And look, this isn't just some fluffy positive thinking. The entire culture of the school is built to bypass that moment of hesitation. That yes, I can motto, it's what they call a psychosocial intervention. It's like a trigger designed to push students from that phase of thinking and worrying and wondering about doing something to just doing it. So here's the crucial point. This isn't just about attitude. The LBA model is actually grounded in hard cognitive science. And, this is the surprising part, principles borrowed directly from the world of software engineering. First up, there's something called the testing effect, and the science on this is crystal clear. The struggle, the actual act of trying to pull information out of your brain for a test, even if you fail, makes you learn and remember it way better than just passively reading it over and over. It literally builds stronger connections in your brain. This quote, and it comes from a huge analysis of over 200 different studies, really says it all. We tend to think of a test as the finish line, right? The final judgment. But the research shows the test isn't the finish line at all. It's part of the engine that actually drives the learning forward. And this is the key mindset shift. By taking a test right away, students get a super precise report card that shows them exactly where their knowledge gaps are. That vague, overwhelming anxiety of, I just don't know enough, gets transformed into a clear, actionable study plan. Okay, I see. I just need to focus on chemical reformation. The LBA model is directly borrowed from a process in software engineering called test-driven development. It works in 3 simple steps. First, red. You intentionally fail the test. Why? To get that perfect diagnostic report of what you don't know. Second, green. You use that report to study only what you need to pass the test. And finally, refactor. You get your license, you start earning a living, and you perfect your skills out in the real world, on the job. Now, the impact of doing things this way isn't just psychological, it's also profoundly economic. The research gives it a great name, the double scoop advantage. So what are the 2 scoops? Well, the first scoop is you avoid the massive debt from traditional schools because the tuition is kept low. The second scoop, and this one is arguably even more powerful, is that you get into the workforce and start earning money months, sometimes even years, sooner than your peers. I mean, the numbers here show a pretty dramatic difference. The traditional path takes 16 months, costs $22,000 in tuition. But it's the hidden costs that are really staggering. $15,000 in lost wages while you're studying, another $6,000 in loan interest. The LBA action path just cuts the time, gets rid of that debt, and gets graduates to work way faster. When you put it all together, it adds up to this. You combine the tuition savings, the interest you didn't have to pay, and the income you gained by starting work 6 months earlier, and an LBA graduate is effectively $33,000 wealthier in their very first year. This isn't just a small leg up, that's a life-changing difference. And that's just year one. Imagine how that head start compounds over an entire career.
So what's the big picture here, Why does this matter beyond just beauty school? Well, the researchers conclude that what the LBA model really does is act as a certainty engine. A certainty engine, it's just a clear, repeatable process that takes all the ambiguity and the fear out of learning a new skill. It takes that vague hope of, gosh, I'd love to be and turns it into a step-by-step blueprint. It replaces anxiety with a confidence that comes from a system that works. It systematically transforms a student's belief in themselves that, yes, I can, into concrete, undeniable proof of their competence, the I have done it. This builds a completely new identity for them, one that's based on real, tangible achievement, not just the number of hours they spent in a classroom hoping for the best. This study's final conclusion just captures the whole philosophy in one powerful sentence. You don't wait to be perfect before you start. You start, and you fail, and you learn, and you iterate in order to become perfect. Action always comes first. And that really leaves us with a final thought to take away. In your own life, think about your career, your hobbies, your personal goals. Where has that fear of not being ready held you back? What's the test you could take maybe even right now, knowing that even if you fail, it's still a step forward?